Hello everyone. Today I want us to look at how to use pivot table in Excel. Now, you may have large data to analyze. Instead of using advanced function, you can use a pivot table to make it easy to analyze. Let us first look at what a pivot table is. A pivot table refers to a tool in Excel we can use to quickly make summaries, analyze, and organize large sets of data without writing any function or any formula. It lets us group data into rows and columns. It can also enable us to count, add numbers, and change the views instantly. Now, pivot table, when you're coming up with it, it has some key parts, and there are four, and one of it being rows. Just like a normal table, pivot table also contains that part called row. And a row in a pivot table will always show items going down the side of the table, just like any other table where rows run going downwards. Then columns, they show items going across the top headers, meaning that for them, they show items going from the left to the right. Then we also have that part called values. We shall see them. So values is where we normally put the numbers to be calculated or be added up. In case you have a field you want, or you are going to use for calculation, or you are going to use for adding up something, then we shall put it under values. Then filters, just like normal table in a spreadsheet. With the filter, we use it to extract some specific data basing on a given condition. So those are the four parts of a pivot table we shall deal with. Now, why use pivot table? Why should we use pivot table instead of advanced functions? One, pivot table saves your time. The time you will spend while using advanced functions is not the same time you will use or you will spend when you make a report using a pivot table. Why? Because it is just simply drag and drop actions. There is no formulas needed. So you are not going to struggle memorizing formulas like sum, count, sum ifs, average if. No. We have just said the drag and drop and other things will be done automatically. Then also during the analysis, you can rotate your data views within seconds to see trends from different patterns. So, unlike when you are using the inbuilt or when you are using the advanced functions. Now, since we are done with this, let us now look at this sample. So I have some example here we are going to use, and here it says TechLink Computer Center is one of the leading suppliers of computers and ICT equipment in the town. The center sells different ICT equipment including laptops, desktop, printers, projectors, tablets, monitors, scanners, keyboards, computer mice, flash disks, routers, and other accessories to schools, business, and individual customers. The center is managed by a sales manager whose responsibility is to monitor salesperson's activities, keep proper records of goods sold, and prepare daily sales returns for management. The sales department currently uses counter books to record and calculate information about goods sold. The management has introduced a system of rewarding the best performing salesperson based on total sales and profit generated. They therefore need accurate information to determine the total quantity sold by each salesperson. We can use sum if there. Determine the total sales made by each salesperson. Determine the total profit made by each salesperson. Find the salesperson with the highest total sales. So we are going to go through them one by one as we are attempting them. Due to the increasing number of ICT equipment sales and salespersons, it has become difficult for the sales manager to quickly and accurately calculate the required information using the existing manual system. This has caused delays in preparing sales reports and making important business decisions. Organize the data provided in the support file, ICT equipment sales records, and provide information needed to guide the management in decision making. So members, let us try to go through this and we see. Now we have our data here under ICT equipment sales record. I will open it and we see what we have been given. So this is the data we have been given and they want us to summarize it. They want us to organize this data and will provide information needed to guide the management in their decision making. And one of the things we need is to determine the total quantity sold by each salesperson. For example, when you look at here, the salesperson called John, on this date, the man managed to sell two laptop computers. Now, the same John, on this day, he managed to sell 5 keyboards. This very John, on this date, he managed to sell 4 UPS. So we want to see the quantity or the amount or how many equipment did he sell altogether. We come and get for Mary the same, Peter the same. The other one, they also want the information on something to deal with the profits. Identify the most profitable items. So it means we also need to get total profits here. So let us begin straight away. One, we are going to get, since there is cost price and selling price, the profit can be selling price minus cost price. Then, by this time I want total profit, meaning that it will be total selling price times total cost price. So I first need to get total cost price, total cost price. So I can adjust this. Total cost price will be equal to quantity times cost price. Then also need to get total selling price. Total selling price, which will be equaling to quantity still times selling price, and there we get that amount. Then later on I need total profit. Total profit is the same as total selling price minus total cost price, and there we are. Then I can come and complete for these other remaining items. So just by autofilling, and autofilling. So I have already done, or I'm done with the general calculation needed in this table. So what I can do, I will select this table and I apply some borders to make it look better. Then I can also change the font style, for example to Times New Roman. Then can also go ahead and change the font size like to 12. Yeah, now it looks better. I make these titles here to be the titles by, can also even change their font colors, can even highlight them. Then I come back and adjust my column width to make sure that everything is seen well, nothing is hidden. Nothing is hidden. Another person can decide to wrap this text such that they appear in two lines within the same cell. So after working with this, you can come and first rename this worksheet, and we call it, to rename, you just right click on your sheet name, rename, and you type the name of the sheet you want. For example, you can say this is the calculated data, and there you are done. Now after all of this, we can now begin to determine the total quantity sold by each salesperson. Now that we can use some if. So let me first use some if, and then we'll continue and use our pivot table, and we see which one takes less time. Now I'm not going to do that on my calculated, but I will create a copy of this data. So to create a copy of this data, move the cursor to the tab or the sheet tab here, calculated data, right click on it, move or copy, then move to the end and come and tick this box to create a copy, then OK. So here we have a copy of this calculated data. Now we can rename it basing on what we are getting. For example, we are getting total quantity sold by each salesperson. So that's what the name we are going to give here. You type the name there and press enter key. Now we need to get that. So what I'm going to do, we need a salesperson with the total quantity that person managed to sell. So I will have a small simple table here, sales person, then total quantity sold. So you can adjust it a bit, salesperson, total quantity sold. So now in here, you can now arrange your salesperson. For example, the first salesperson is John. So we shall type John here. We want to see the total quantity sold by John. The next one is Mary. We want to see the total quantity sold by Mary all together. There is Peter. There is also John, Mary, Peter. There is Grace. After Grace, there is Sarah. There is David. Not the. Okay, David, if that's the spelling. And there is also, who are we done with them? James. There is James. Okay, so we can now start. So we want to get the total quantity sold by John. So for this case, we are going to use a function called sum if. So we are going to add the quantity on a condition. For example, for now, we are going to add the quantity on a condition that it will only pick the quantity corresponding to John. So here equal now range and the criteria. So we are going to apply our criteria on this range of salesperson. So you will first select all the salesperson. Out of all the selected salesperson, we need who? We need John. So comma, the criteria is John. So under the criteria, first open quotes, type the name John, close that quotes, and there is a comma. Now what is active now? It is sum range where we are adding. So it is this range where we are supposed to add. So you select it like that. So meaning that it is going to only pick from here up the last, but it will only pick the quantity corresponding to John. And there we are. So it has given us 15. We do the same for Mary equals sum if open bracket, then our range criteria is for salesperson, is where we are applying our criteria, comma, then the criteria is Mary, close that quotes, comma, and here we come and select the quantity because it is a quantity to be added. Then you press enter key, and there we are. We are with Mary. Mary sold 17 of them. Then we need for Peter, which is equal to sum if good. We select this range for the criteria, comma, open quotes. This time we need for Peter, close the quotes, comma, and what are we adding? Quantity. So we select the range. Then also 17 equal sum if the range is from the first one to this one here, comma, criteria. So for who? For Grace, close quotes, comma, and we now select what will be added. Good. And now you press enter key. So Grace sold 18 equal sum if open your bracket range criteria from the first salesperson to the last one, comma, but we only need who? Sarah, comma, then what are we adding? Quantity, and there we go equal sum if open bracket our range where we apply criteria, comma, open quotes, we need for David, close quotes, comma, what are we adding? Quantity corresponding to David, and there we go equal sum if open bracket where we applying criteria in the range of salesperson, comma, only need those of James, close quotes, comma, then we need the corresponding quantity for James, and there we go. So now we can come back and also work on this small result here. by changing the font style, maybe 2 times New Romans to be uniform. Here we need 12. We give it table, border. Then we can also come and work upon their titles here, where we can also highlight it with that, give the font color, come and bold, and many other things you can do. So there we can see that John sold 15 items, Mary sold 17, Peter sold 17 until James. Now, this very analysis here, we can do it using a pivot table. And we see which one takes much time. Good. So, we can go back to our calculated. Remember, we are now going to also do the same using pivot table instead of using sum if, and we see really which one takes more time. So because I'm going to create a pivot table from this data here, so I will be on that data, then click on insert, and here there is a pivot table. So click on pivot table. It will ask 2 questions. One, it will ask us to choose data that we want to analyze. So for us, we have one selected the table, or you shall selected for us the entire table from here up to here. So we shall leave it the way it is. Then choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Yes, I want it to be on a new sheet. So you will click on OK. So it has created for me a new sheet here. So I will first rename it that word, total quantity sold by each sales person. So let me just add here S such that they don't compete with this one here. Just to make it okay, let me total per, let me put there per salesperson. Good. Now we can see there are 2 parts here. One, this side of the left where we have pivot table. Then this side of the right we have pivot table fields. So which fields are we going to make to appear on our pivot table? And this side we shall see it appearing here. If accidentally you click outside it, you will find the fields disappearing. But if you want it to come back, you simply just come and click on the pivot table area here, and it will come. Now we begin. We want to do what? We want to determine the total quantity sold by each salesperson, just the way we have done it on this one here, where John got that, Mary got this, but this time we want to do it in the simplest way. So what you do here, we need the salesperson and their corresponding quantities. So here we shall come and drag salesperson and we'll bring to the rows. Why? Because for them they are appearing in rows. They are arranged in rows. For example, David is on row 4, Grace on row. Then we shall also come and drag. Remember, we are looking at the total quantity per the salesperson. So I will need quantity. And this time I'm going to drag it on the value Y, because it is where the calculation is going to be performed on. So here you can see it has given me some of the quantity, and here row labels. So what I'm going to do, you can even come and label this or rename that and call it total quantity. Yes, you are done. Now, when you compare this with what we have here, it's the same. For example, for who? The first person here is David, who got 8. If you come here, David got 8. When you come back, Grace got 18. Here, Grace got 18. So you can see the same thing, but with the pivot table, it has not taken us much time. Now our pivot table, we can now come and also select it, and we give it borders. After giving it borders, we can come to pivot table tools, analyze and design. Let me first design. You click on design, come to the pivot table styles, expand it, and apply a style of your choice to your pivot table, and there you are done. Then we can give this pivot table a label, so it shall come and select those two, go back to home, merge and center, such that you type the title there, and here you can say total quantity per sales person. And you can also come select them. We come here and give it times New Roman. Then we make them 12. Yeah. Then when we come here, we can also now bold. We can also change the color, maybe font color. Then you can also highlight. Now you are just formatting, you are just making your table look nice, nothing else. Then you can do other things. More than that. Then true, since we are analyzing, we can also use graph to analyze this very data. So for that case, you will come and click on one of the total quantity. Then you go back to pivot table tools, and this time we are analyzing. So analyze. Under analyze, there are tools for analyzation here. Analysis can be done using these tools here, and this time I want pivot charts. So under pivot charts, you can now come up with a chart of your own. For example, line graph, pie chart. Let me try pie chart for now. Now you can click on OK, and you will be able to see the pie chart for this data here appearing there. Then two, we need to just change this title, a pie chart, showing total quantity sold by each sales person. Good, and there we are. Then this data here, this title here, you can also try to format it if you want. For example, you can go back to home, change the font color maybe to that. You can also even bold it and other things. Then this pie chart is lacking one thing, that is a data label. So you come and click on that plus there and add data labels, just like that, and you are done. So at least now we have analyzed that. So it is the same. So for now, let me remove this one here. We are using the one of your table. Okay, so I'm going to rearrange them. Calculated will always be the first one here, and then others will follow. So total quantity will follow. Just drag the tab and bring here. Then this tab here, we can fill this, like maybe tab color, can use that to differentiate them. Then total quantity sold per salesperson, you can right click on it, come to tab color, and maybe use that, and we continue. We go to the next one. The next one is telling us what we also want to determine the total sales made by each salesperson. The total sales made by each salesperson. So when you come here, we have here the total sales or the total selling price. So for example, John made this on this day. John made this sale, so we want to add them. Still you can use some if, but we have said to make it simple, we simply just use pivot table. So go back to the data where you want the pivot table to come from, then insert pivot table, and we shall say okay. Then I want us to first rename it, that tab. So we shall just call it sales made by, total sales made by each. So I'm going to just rename that. Now you also do the same. So we are looking for total sales made by each salesperson. So we need a salesperson here, and they are already here, Grace, David. Then their total sales. So you come to selling price or total selling price, which is here, and since we are going to perform calculation on that, we put it under value. Now I said we can come and click on sum of total selling price, then we remove that and we remain with the total selling price. Then David made a total with this, Grace made a total with this, James made a total with that. It is, and their grand total is here, but you can also decide to remove this. For now, let us leave it. Then we can come here and give it the title. For example, we can also select these two cells. We go back to home, merge and center, and we type there the title. Type there the title, total sales per salesperson, and there you are done. You can make it look better than that by bolding, changing the font color, maybe highlighting it with the yellow. Select them. For uniformity, we are also going to give it Times New Romans. Then we shall come here and make it 12. We shall come and give them borders. There, at least you have done something. What next? Yeah, we are still analyzing. It means we can come up with a graph of it. So we can come and click on one of the total selling price. Then we come to analyze. Under analyze, we want a pivot chart. And this time I can use this column chart. Then okay. Now the good thing with these pivot charts here, they come already labeled. For you, your work is just to change the title. So the title here, I will come and click on it and I type that title, the column chart showing total sales made by each salesperson. So you can either leave it like this, or you can click on it, go back to home and change. You can do everything. So this one, we are done with that. Next, now instead of using sum if, you can see how things are getting done slowly. We want to determine the total profit made by each salesperson. Total profit meaning that even here we can use sum if, but instead of sum if, we can come and create our pivot table. But before that, let me first change the tab color, and the tab color, you can give it that. Then you drag it to rearrange here like that. So go back to our calculated data, because that's where the pivot table is coming from. Then insert pivot table, and here we said we click on OK. Now what's the name of that tab? That tab, we are going to call it what? We are looking for total profits made by each salesperson. So profit made by each salesperson. So rename that sheet there and give it a appropriate name. Then we come back here, we want total sales made by each salesperson. So we still need salesperson and a row. And now this time is total profit. Look for total profit. So total profit is supposed to be done under values, which is a calculation. And here we can see David made this amount, Grace made this profit until Sarah. So we can also come and add the title, merge and center. Then you can say total profit made by each sales person. Then you can go ahead, expand this a bit. Now, since the title is long, I can now click on that title, then you wrap text such that you have 2 lines within the same cell. Then also we can come back and bold it. We can come and change the font color. We can also even highlight, but you can highlight yours using different colors. Then we can select this table for uniformity, which I'll give it Times New Romans. Then font size to 12. We also need to give it border, and there we are. Then 2, we are still analyzing, so we can come and look at the trend using a graph. So you just click on one of the total. Oh, we can also change this one to total profit instead of leaving it at sum of that. So total profit, and there we are. Do we have total profit somewhere? Yes, we have total profit somewhere. I can see total profits. Good. Now, what do we need? We can come and click on one of the total profits, analyze. But remember, you can also come and first design, give your table a design of your choice. Okay. Yeah, for example, that. So we come here, analyze, pivot table. Sorry, we are not moving, but we need the pivot chart. Then this time, what do I use? I can come and use bar. Then okay. Then you come and also type this title here, the bar chart showing blah 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 blah, and there you are done. Good. What next? What next? Can close that. What next? So you first give it a tab color. For example, I'm going to give it that. Then you carry it and put it in its right position because it is coming after total sales. Yeah, around there. Then you come back to our calculated data. We need more table to come from there. So this time we need to find the salesperson with the highest total sales. Salesperson with the highest total sales. But already we got total quantity, total sales made by each person. So I'm going to use this very table here to come up with this because already we have done it. So what I'm going to do, simply just come and look for total sales made by, create a copy. How do we make a copy? Simply right click on that tab of total sales, then move to the end, create a copy, and there you are. So here you can say total sales by here. So here we are going to just rename this that sales person with the highest total sales. Now I can even remove this, but already you can even see it is John, so we can even leave this one also. But what I'm going to do, I'm simply just going to right click on one of the total sales here, sort, and sort largest to smallest. And here now we see John heading, so you can even see here John followed by Peter, followed by Mary, and Sarah was the last. Good. We go back our calculated here where we shall pick our table from. So the next is find the place with the highest find the place with the highest sales. Place with the highest sales. So we go and do that. This time it is a place with the highest sale. So we shall come to our data where we need to generate the pivot table from. So we come to insert pivot table, then click on OK. And here, this one we are calling it what? We are calling it place with the highest sales. When we come here, this time we don't need the salesperson, we need place. So we shall come and drag place to be in rows. So we have Entebbe, Guru, Ninja, etc. With the highest sales. With the highest sales. So you come to total sales or total selling price. There we are. So here we have total selling price. So we can also change this and leave it to total instead of sum of that. Okay. We have it already somewhere. That's why it is complaining. So I'll just add some more here totals. Like that. But give it the right label. Then since we want to know which place has the highest cell, then I will just simply just come and select this, or first give it a heading. So that heading shall select these two cells, go back to home, merge and center, and we type here place with the highest what? Highest cells. We select our table. We can come to borders. We can come to where are we? Yes, this change the color. We can bold. We can also even highlight. Everything here. We select everything and we come to where? Font style times New Romans. I'm just maintaining. Font size to 12. Good. Can click on my pivot table, come to the design of it, choose a design, for example that, and all is done. Now we want to see which place had the highest total sales. So we shall come and click on right click on one of the total selling price, then sort, and we need to sort largest to smallest, and there we are. So you can also decide to give this ones the currency symbol. We shall look at that later. Good. So I'm done with that. Now, if I told you where to do this, the other side of the advanced functions, it will not take small time like the way pivot table is taking. So we can also come and give it a tab color, for example that, and just drag it and you rearrange it where it's supposed to be, so it will be here, such that they follow one another in order. Then the next one is what? Determining the total sales for each item. Total sales for each item. So we need to get total sales for each item. So we shall come to our table, insert, pivot table. Okay. We are getting what? Total sales for each item. So we shall have items sold, then the total selling price. Total selling price here, because we need the total sales for each item sold. So computer case took this, computer mouse took that, and so on. You can also come and add the title by merging and centering. So this one is there. This one is there. Okay, total sales per item. Come and rename this sheet here. total sales for each item. Good. Then come and work on your title the way you want. You can even bold it. Select all of them. Then come and do what? Apply border. Come and change the font style, like for example Times New Roman. Then 12. You can come and click on the table. Then you go to design and look for the design of your choice. For example, I will use this one for now. Good. I think that's all what was needed. Then if you want, you can also analyze it using the graph. Good. Give it the tab color to just differentiate them. Then carry it and take it to its right position, which is there. Good. Go back. We are done with that one. Then the other one is identify the most profitable item. We are identifying the most profitable item. So under most profitable item, which I'll go back to our calculated, because we are creating a pivot table from this table. So we shall go to insert pivot table. Okay. Then most profitable item. It means I need item sold. Then total profit. Total profits under that. So it's going to calculate for us like that. Then what do you need to do? Since we need the most profitable item, so we are going to sort such that the most profitable item is on top. So come and just right click on one of the total profit. Then sort smallest to largest, and there you are done. Come and give it a title, merge and center. Let me first rename this. So here I can call it profitable item. You can format this title by filling, changing the color, bolding. Then you can select your entire table here. Come and do what? Give it borders. Change here. We have Times New Romans. Then 12. And you adjust this. Good. What else? You can also add a graph. And there we are done. Come and give it a table color just to differentiate them. Then carry it and take it to where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be there. Good. Don't just leave it where it has gone. Please at least get organized. Next, determine the number of transactions made by each sales person. Each salesperson, the number of transactions. How many times did John make transaction? How many times did Mary make transaction? So we shall come to insert pivot table. Okay, and here we shall need salesperson and a row. Now, since we are going to also count the number of times each salesperson is appearing, we shall also drag again the salesperson, and we drop one value like that it counts. So we are having here row, then count of salesperson. Okay, so we can go ahead and rename the number of transactions. The number of transactions. The number of transactions. We can call it the number of transactions. We can rename it as number of transactions. Now you can also even count. Instead of count of salesperson, you can now change it to number of transactions per salesperson. Number of transactions per number of transactions per salesperson. Good. We can also come and go back to home wrap text just like that, such that then we can give it a title, home, merge and sales, and we have number of transactions made by each sales person. So still also come and click on that cell and we wrap the text. Then you can expand it a bit. You can work on that cell, change the color, fill, bold, select the entire table here, go back to where we need the borders, we need to change the font style, we need to change the font size. You can also come and just click on only your table. Remember this row here, when you click on that cell, you can't see a pivot table field, but when you come and just click on part of the pivot table, then you'll be able to see pivot table tools, redesign, and choose an appropriate design for it. For example, that one can work. Then if you want, you can also add a graph there. So meaning that David made 2 transactions, Grace 3, etc. So the total number of transactions 21. So we can also give this one the tab color and maybe that. So you drag it and take it where it's supposed to be, or it's supposed to be around there. We go back to our here, and what are we getting next? Compare salespersons across different places. So we want to see, for example, Peter or John in Entebbe or Kampala, what was the sales? This very John here, where again in Entebbe, what was the sale? In Jinja, what was the sale? So we go there and have insert pivot table. Now today we are introducing the column in this one here. So we shall need the salesperson here, because for them they are supposed to appear in rows. Then we need the places, comparing David, which place, Ginger. So that one we shall put place under columns, so you can see we are having our then what are we comparing? We are comparing salespersons, salespersons across. So what did they sell? Now the total sales or total selling price will come to values. Now you can see with the David in Entebbe, he didn't sell anything. Ngulu, nothing, no value. Ginger, he sold that. Here, no sale, no transaction, transaction was here. Now, for example, that's what we wanted. Then you also come and add the title the way you want. Select your table and give it border. You can go to design, give it a design of your choice, and there we are. That's what was needed. Now doing this using advanced functions may not be easy, but you can see what pivot table is doing for us. Now this one, what are we analyzing? We are comparing sales persons across different places. So we can rename this as a salespersons versus places. There you are done. You also give it tab color. For example, maybe I have not used red. Drag it and take it to where it's supposed to be. We go back to our calculated here. What else? We have compared this. So we also want to create a pivot table showing total sales by salesperson. Total sales by salesperson, total sales by salesperson. For example, here we had total sales made by each sales. That one was done already. We are done with this one. Present sales by date. So it is this one we are going to by date. The other one is done. So we need by date. By date. Okay. We can continue. Now, by date is where we are going to. It is a date and a place. Showing sales by date and the place. So what do we need to do there? The same way we have been doing. So what do we need to do? One, we need to go back to our original data. Original data, which is this. Create or insert pivot table. Okay. So this time we have what? We have sales by date and place. By date and place. So it means we are going to have date of sale and a rows that we see on this date, this date, this date. What next? Then place is going to be as a column. So on this day, Entebbe, what was the sale? Gulu, what was the sale? Barara, what was the sale? etc. Then what next? We are coming where? We are coming to total sales. Total sales. Where are you? Total selling. So this one has a value. So you can see on 13th, Entebbe, this was the sale. Jinja had nothing. Gulu had nothing. Kampala nothing. Again, Mbale is where some sales took place. You also go ahead and give it a title. You can select your table. Come and give it what? Borders. Times New Romans for uniformity. Then also have here 12 font size and so on. You can also come back to design and choose the design of your choice. And here we need to also rename that. Don't forget to rename what? Sales by date and place. So we shall come and also rename this sales. Rename. So we have sales by date and place. So we can come and give it a tab color. For example, that. Carry it, take it where it's supposed to be. Around there. Good. What next? The next one, determine the quantity. The total quantity sold in each place. The total quantity sold in each place. So the total quantity sold in each place is the same. Where you are coming to, let us go back to our calculated here. Then we shall have insert pivot table. Okay. This time we need what? We need the place and rows. Then quantity, because we are looking for total quantity sold in each place. So quantity. We are done. So Entebbe 15, Gulu 3, etc. So you can rename this. You also give it a title here. You select, give, come. So work upon it, and we rename it as total quantity sold in each place. So we rename that. We also give it tab color, for example. Then you carry it and take it to the last. So you can see how, or you can see the power of pivot table. It makes analysis very simple. You don't need to type in or to enter in any formula. It will do it for you automatically. So members, that is the power of pivot table, and that's what we wanted to look at. Is thank you so much for your time. We meet in our next video.